I'm Yen, I'm from Taiwan. I work in theater and make documentary and short videos. I set up my studio called Very Mainstream Studio 4 years ago. And this time I brought Teatime with me, myself and I to Click Festival. And also we've been here for 3 weeks to develop a project called Taipei Copenhagen, where we use the 40 bucks as our main digital stage that we put 2 actors, one Danish, one Taiwanese, to share story using this really amazing and delicate technology. When I was in college, I went to the University of Art in Taipei and I majored in theater directing. So it was very much theater-based, like we read and try to work on Ibsen and Shakespeare and all the big names of modern and classic theater. But I always want to play with multimedia, and I have a camera, so I started to make short film when I was in college. And then I always, so in the university, I already started to put a lot of video in my theater work. And that's really how I developed my understanding and my interest in putting it into theater. And then after that, I studied in London, where I was really boundaryless, you can do whatever you want. So there I make even more film. Then I continue working with dancer, and this time I just really thought mobile has become such a thing, such a big impact of my life, not to say everyone's life. And I think there are something emotional, something private, something interesting to look at. So I developed this piece in a very small festival. It's called Intimate Festival in Taipei, where you actually act in a bookshop or in a little cafe that you only have 25 people per performance, and it's 20 minutes. So I actually put myself on the stage, and I was with my phone and my iPad and everything, and it was quite cute. And my producer saw, oh, that you can probably elaborate and make a longer one into a medium stage. So I was encouraged, and then made the full version of Teatime with me, myself, and I. And it was premiered 2014 in Taipei Digital Art Festival, and then it went to Beijing just last month, and this week in Denmark. And it was very interesting that you see the different mentality in responding to this modern technology, and there are difference and there are also similarities. So for example, selfie, for example, taking picture of food, drinks, like the good part of your life, to establish a persona on the internet. I think that's I wish that's understandable and communicating to the audience worldwide. I think my primary concern will be how to narrate. What is the narrative? How will the audience understand? For example, I would say that an installation piece should also tell a story, but it's an abstract story. And for example, my classic theater training sort of gave me the idea to have the sort of a classic answer, and that's super nice when you can play with classics. So then you can just reverse it, or you can just say you can anti-classic. For example, I have this iPad being a mask, and mask is such an old traditional Greek thing that in school we always learn that it gives you this and that emotion. And then this time I just used that idea that I found very meaningful, but then I put an iPad in front of the man, and then so there are a few layers of things. And I just think that the language, for me, the language is so different yet so modern. I would say 10 years ago, I wouldn't feel so surrounded by media. But now, probably, I'm not so sure in Copenhagen, but now in Taiwan or in Asia, you're really, whenever elevator inside there's one, and then in the taxi there's another one just in front of the passengers, bus, everything, metro station, and so we are really in a more mediatized lifestyle, and then I find it very natural to actually have media in the theater rather than it's an experiment or something. And personally, I feel I'm just fascinated by media, like by the framing of it, like the color and the pixel that consist meaning, and there are things that I can control, there are things I cannot, and that's just so interesting. One more thing about theater and media, I think there's one thing, the feeling and the understanding of time is so different, because in theater we experience the same real time flow, like we are here from 7:30 to 9:30, but then in movie, in the video, it sort of jumps back and forth. However, we are still in a physical space, and then this overlapping of reality and what is real then become my question. Yeah. For example, I put then the artificial grass of Teatime in Teatime with me, myself, and I, and then everything, the little plant on the stage is also artificial. The fish they have is a fish in the foam, and so in a way that I just really want to put them or put us in a really artificial life to present it this way. But also, when they walk out of the grass, they can share a warm coffee that is handmade, that is not coffee made, everything handmade from scratch, with a person, with an audience that they've never met. I think that's, in a way, that's nothing classic. And an interesting theater producer, Lars, yesterday, he told me that he's like, it's a kind of play that with nothing happening, no climax. So in a theater school, this will not be a play. In a way, they wouldn't agree. But then that's sort of our life. I feel that I make coffee, I work, I travel on my iPad, and then I go to sleep. In the sleep, I see one of my voyage, one of my window looking outside, or in the translation of the space that we are all in the darkness, looking for something with this little torch, this modern torch. That's my sort of my few intention to make this piece. Yeah. In a way, this piece is like, I wonder, sometimes I wonder if I should put it in the proscenium or not, like in a black box, and then people just stand there, sit and look. And because I think the way that people brain works in the theater and in the exhibition hall, in the museum, in the gallery, is very different. In the gallery, we tend to think actively, but in the theater, we tend to like sit there and let the theater tell me what it wants to say. So we tend to be more, and I actually want to, so I actually tried this piece, exactly the same one, in the gallery in Taipei, but then there's not such sort of strong linear thing, but then the audience can actually walk around them, and I feel that's also nice because the audience can just come in and out and see, oh, they are chatting, oh, they are making coffee, or they are doing that and that, but they are surrounded by the real-time image that they create. I also felt that was quite interesting. And as a matter of fact, I'm invited to Korea to work with 2 female dancers with the same idea, the same concept. And I'm intrigued to know that how will that be developed in a sort of not theater space. But then we will still have 1 big desk, 2 chairs, they make coffee, and they share with audience. And yeah, I'm looking forward. I personally don't know if it's perfect or not, but it's just really, I actually think that the cultural difference and time will actually change it. For example, I did it last year, and something has been changed already because some app in the first premiere has been developed. So there are things that change or automatically, yeah. But in the traditional theater, the light is like yellow, it's warm, and it's really the lights in the last century. And this century we have LED. We have the cold, efficient light, and I think that's really like my temperature. So I don't mean to. I'm not really like playing with digital image like that kind of super cold and sharp and pixelated and things. I still try to capture some words, but I know that it's sort of dealt with a way that is more rational, more refined. So I would say it's lukewarm, and I feel that's sort of my. I never think I intentionally make it so lukewarm, but then it becomes lukewarm. So, and I feel, for example, I actually have the scene that with two guys, I mean, they try to find each other, they try to find themselves in the darkness. I actually have this scene because I was in New York and I was in London. And the metro station there, I mean, some of them are quite old. So sometimes the electricity actually, the lighting actually went down when they're in the tunnel. And then before, everyone was reading books, so that was okay. So it's dark. But then nowadays, if you get on one of those old trams, you will feel that everyone is in front of a window that is with light and looking into a different universe. And that just really gave me very strong impact. And so that, for me, I would imagine that it's not only me using Facebook, Instagram, looking at the other's life, but millions of others. And so that's like, yeah, it's a bit cold, but it's also a bit comforting that you know there are also millions of others using that. And there's one thing I like to share is about taking chance. Like, so there are things that is rehearsed, but there are also things that I cannot control. For example, this piece, Teatime, everything, we use packaged app. We didn't develop things for it. So there's this music app called Beatwave that the actor really have to improvise every time, and every time is so different. Sometimes it becomes so chaotic, and sometimes it becomes like really like a nice melody. But then it always like repeat and like very minimal. And the first time I personally play it, I feel like, wow, everyone can be John Cage for 50 minutes or Philip Glass or something. And I like that kind of, so they never know what music will be played. And also the audience, like the audience chatting response in Taiwan or in Beijing is already very different. For example, our language is a bit different, and also the way that the actor can speak Chinese and type Chinese so much better, and so there's a lot of fun stuff. But here, probably because they are not so used in English, and also because the audience is more like really polite. Like yesterday, the audience was like using very proper English, so there's no joke there, but still nice. So we set up a few things. Like I would like the actors to share that I love coffee, and I would like the actor to share I cannot sleep. This and that. So we have a few things we want to do, but then we also let it go. And I want the actor to say, I want to find someone to chat. And then, so there are sometimes audience say, hi, why not? And there are someone say, when the actor say, I cannot sleep. someone will actually reply, "Don't worry, I can be with you. I can be at your company." And it's a real time. In the very beginning of the thing, you already feel that the strange, very strange intimacy in the cyber world that we are here. Sometimes we talk to stranger on the internet more, how do you say that, more honestly than we talk to our friend, because with this real relation, something you just cannot share. So I personally sort of love and scared of the real-time chatting, but then it always surprised me.
Yes.
I think actually, especially when I was in China, a lot of journalists and they want me to sort of give an answer. Are you pro or against mobile or app or tablet? And I'm like, no, I love it, and I have problem with it, and sometimes it makes me anxious. Sometimes it calming down, and that's all in me. And so I really would like to present it in a way that very interesting. I think positive people see positive thing, and well, obviously, if you are more pessimistic, then you'll see it negatively in a way that a Danish friend yesterday say, I feel there's no hope and I feel sad about it. And the other friend was like, wow, they found each other, they found themselves. So yeah, like just the same performance, and then I think it's really, I think that's also my way of expression, that I would never ever try to give opinion on, like, you should do that, that is good, that is bad. I would never like to give that statement. Yeah. How would I, because I don't really have like information about how is the media art world here, but obviously there are like really good and pioneer stuff here. Of course, that's why there's a festival called Click Festival here. And for me, my understanding is Taiwan has been quite devoted in the realm of technology, making computer components and stuff. And then the government really promoting utilizing technology in performance. So that's why we are kind of lucky to be emerging and creating work with their support. And I think the Art University has been look at and also develop works since probably 15-20 years ago, when it's like, you know, in between analog and digital, when we are understanding what is digital. And yeah, so there's a digital art festival, digital performing art festival every year, and I think there are good works, and there are also I think the key important for the creation nowadays is not really, it's really just to make stuff, because I mean we already know that there's no correct answer. Then there's not just such as a thing as masterpiece nowadays. Now I mean, this is probably a bit far away, but people has been saying this is an era, this is a time that we don't have a master, like master doesn't exist anymore. And then what exists, and that's what we are looking for. So we don't believe in certain guru or certain, oh, that's the best. And yeah, so I think using media, especially in theater, in such a traditional form, is like you take challenge and then you accept that there are something that is not that working, but something works. I always think that, because now I do part-time lecturing in the University of Arts, and I always thought, oh, they have so convenient to make video, because when I learned it, I need to have this tape and, you know, do the editing. Everything was so much more complicated. But then to actually use media, use everyday media, and then to think of it as a art form or think artistic about it is relatively different. People use it to make their life easier, but but people use it to make their life like easier, faster, fun, but then not necessarily art. So I wouldn't say that it's more accessible in Taiwan. Yes and no. Like for example, the mobile apps and usage in China is like so shockingly active. Like you can do everything there, almost everything. I feel like strangely everything. For example, actually, I think also in Denmark, the mobile pay thing has changed. Even in the flea market, you can do mobile pay. I mean, yeah, you need to have that, and then especially in the big city like Beijing. But then when it comes to art form, there are still basics and the foundation of arts that need to be digged and to ask, to quest, rather than a thing that we put on our hand. I never intentionally asked them not to speak, but at the same time, when we rehearse, when we develop the thing, that I actually have two actors two performers, I would say, that they don't really use these devices. They really use it to call. They are like very performer, they don't like technology, but they are good at acting. So I was really like, oh, why don't we play this app and that app? So when we develop it, we don't speak. We only, and that's fun. And then so by the time we rehearse, I play the music, and then there's no word needed. We understand each other also through the thing. And there is an art critic or a digital critic says, I think 20 years ago already, he say, in front of the cyberspace, humans are without corporal. We are corporalless. We don't have a body. And I think that's so true. For example, talking about emotion, when we chat with people, we say, ha ha, but then we type it in face emotionless. However, we really feel happy when we type, but then we wouldn't really just smile and laugh in a metro, not even when you are in a room. We type emotionlessly with emotion. And that's already an alienation from the old days. And that's so interesting to me. So in a way, I made a piece without, like they just really focusing on exploring the world or seeing the world or being seen or capture the world that I want to see without words, because they don't need languages. Then, yeah. Also, I think when they communicate and they share the coffee with the audience, I also ask them not to say a word. Yeah. Yeah. So that's like, yeah, that's in a way a side answer of the identity thing. I think one important key for myself being trying to create theater work, any work, is that I translate my feeling and our life and onto whatever canvas it is, onto a theater, onto a video piece, into a 40-box piece, and I will not so much think super intellectually that if we do exist or something, because yeah, I'll let the intellectual do that. Yes. Sometimes I think making works is really like open up your brain to people, and sometimes it's a bit shy. Yeah. But then I guess we all want to be understood in a way. For example, I mean, this all really come back to Facebook. Like whatever we post, I mean, there's approval there, the like, and sometimes the like really affects your life in a way. Some people is super cool. Oh, I don't care about the like, but then, there's levels of things, and it does make something, and yeah. So yes, I do play with this concept that I somehow want to put them Actually, it's quite obvious that the attempt is like they are the same person because they use the same account. And this account, the name James Liang is actually I just took James from one actor and the last name from the other actor. And their face picture is really a montage of two faces together. And then I would like to see them as every man, every people, every person can relate themselves in them. And I also think there's something interesting now in the cyberspace, in the globalization time, that actually when I first presented, the desk is from IKEA. All the furniture is from IKEA, and all the clothes is from Uniqlo and Zara and H&M. So they are all big chains, and they are all worldwide. And this time, because we use what's provided in Cultural Yard, but still, in a way, they cannot be different, but they wear same stuff, and they share same stuff. They share my breakfast, that coffee, that cappuccino. And so I'm also trying to present that the cyberspace creates a lot of eye-calming and narcissism, and you start to see people look alike very much, especially in Asia. Especially, I wouldn't say that's any bad thing, but I think in Asia, I mean, I will only speak for Taiwan, that there are girls around certain age that it looks really similar in their selfie, and that's in a way almost shocking to me and to many people, and they really don't look like that in their real life. And yeah, so this is how I try to make them a bit alike. Yeah.